Fun show today. Prater's just sitting there thinking, oh, man, I got 38 more minutes before that shot of blue ice vodka is going down there, Prater.
Ballgame, are you peeking at my windows again? Because let me tell you a quick little story about a 90-second story that you can use on speed dating. Blue ice vodka, Idaho brewed, Idaho grown, Idaho potatoes, Idaho water. Fantastic product, guys. Use it. Invite your friends, go to the bars, invite your friends, have a drink, invite your friends, pick it up somewhere. But the other day, over the weekend, I took the espresso because they have 3 different flavors, plain, and they have huckleberry, which I've tried. Love it. I love anything huckleberry. Double espresso. And I'm not a big coffee guy. And when talking to the Blue Ice people, I told them I'm not a big coffee guy. He said, here's what you do, guys. You put it in a shaker, you throw in an ice cube, you shake it up, you put it in a little shot glass, because I like shots. Unbelievable. And that's all I could say. It kind of blew me away. It blew Mrs. Prater away. Mrs. Prater is absolutely obsessed.
She likes blue ice vodka too.
The double espresso. It's changed her life, and it's an amazing product. And we're going to share that story a lot more down the road.
Shout out to Mrs. Prater, 208-424-9300. So last night we get the very first CFP rankings of the season, 25 teams. This is now the poll that means everything. Not one group of 5 team was in that rankings. Memphis is on the line. They're officially the 12 seed as it currently sits, but they're not ranked. So you can say, hey, you have a 12-team college football tournament, but it doesn't include 12 teams that are ranked. I think it's a crappy look for the G5. I think they should have just given Memphis at 8-1, the number 25 next to it, just so they can say it's another ranked team. But I think you said this first, this might be the beginning of the end of the group of whatever in regards to this tournament. If they're not even ranked anymore, it's going to be harder to sell the fact that the tournament needs the little guy, Prater. This thing could be in trouble, and this could spawn a G whatever tournament at some point.
Yeah, that was my takeaway last night, and I thought that is not a good look, and it is the continuation of this conversation. And last night, I think, was a significant moment that's not being talked about enough. First of all, let's go back to the Boise State angle. If Boise State's in Memphis' shoes, 8-1, with decent record, Boise State has the brand. Boise State would have been ranked, and Boise State still carries the muscle, guys. They're just not getting the job done this year. I promise you, if Boise State's 8-1 yesterday, they're in the top 25, maybe even in the top 20, because that's exactly what's going on with that brand. Didn't happen last night. Memphis can't quite carry the G5, G6 mantle. The American, they've done a decent job, and in some cases a better job than the Mountain West in putting teams into this tournament. But I'm not sure they have that kind of cachet this year. And the conversation and the momentum of the divide between the P4s and the G6s is getting so intense that last night you can't ignore it. I think by the time we reach this next cycle, 2031, there's going to be 2 different tournaments, and I think it's going to happen fast. College football, if you think it's changed fast over the last 2 years, buckle up, because it's going to get grosser. Wow. It's going to get more intense, and they're going to start these conversations over the next year or 2. They might have intense conversations this offseason, and I guarantee you it starts with the SEC, because 2 teams got left out last night, Texas and Oklahoma, out of the bracket. They were ranked, but they got left out of the bracket because they got to find room for the ACC.
Virginia.
So they're throwing in a Virginia team, and then they got to find a room for the G5. I guarantee you Texas and Oklahoma are saying, what the hell just happened? They're not worried about it now. If this thing happens on December 7th, when Selection Sunday, I think that's because it's Friday the 5th is the championship game. So Sunday, the 7th is the Selection Sunday. If the scenario repeats itself on Selection Sunday, the SEC will call an emergency meeting, facetiously, kind of, maybe, and this will be a talking point. They will not allow that to happen. I'm worried that last night was a momentum changer, and I'm worried that we're heading to a G5 tournament, and I think that that's terrible. I don't like it. I hate it. I hate playing for second fiddle. Not that the Boise States of the world are ever going to play for a national championship, but we love that they were a part of the deal last year.
I can't wait where Greg's going to go on this one. Greg's college football discussions are becoming can't miss around here.
He's learning. He's learning on the fly.
Well, listen, Prater is right in the sense that the hope that exists with you being in the field is still worth a lot. And I'm sure even though they were a big underdog against Penn State last year, every Boise State fan had that hope for a month from the time they won the Mountain West Championship, from the time they played the game against Penn State.
And 20,000 people left with that memory too. The memory is more important than the hope almost.
And you know what? That's a lot of what I find sports to be about is hope. Yeah. And, your teams aren't going to win championships every year, okay? And college football, the reason why I have so many problems with it is because there isn't that hope. It doesn't exist for 80, 90% of the FBS programs. And so, frankly, to answer the question, should the G6, I guess, counting the Pac-12 now, should they have their own postseason tournament? I think the answer is clearly yes, because one of the things that bothers me about this whole thing is that it's just a bunch of people in a room deciding who the best teams are and who to make the 12-team playoff and how it's going to look. And specific to the group of 5 or group of 6, you have that with the highest ranked conference champion out of all the conferences, who should get that one spot to play in the CFP. And at the end of the day, why don't we just let them play for it on the field? And we say Boise State, San Diego State, James Madison, North Texas, all those American schools, you have your own tournament, and instead of having one spot in a college football playoff in which none of you are probably going to win a game anyway, be decided by people in a room, have the whole thing decided on the field. So I'm actually okay with it if that's what happens.
All right, Taco Bell hotline. Tony in Middleton, you're first up in 208-424-9300. Is there enough evidence now that, first off, maybe it's just inevitable, so get used to it? Tony, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm like Prater. I think that it stinks. I mean, it's just about greed and more money, and that's sad. I mean, at least in the basketball tournament, you still have hope, and you get some teams that do well, and they make it to the Final Four sometimes, and Elite Eight, and it's exciting. That's fun for them. And the thing about football, it's so much a business, and it makes it's super sad, because it does take away that hope. And we don't want to be second fiddle. Nobody does. Everybody wants a chance to win at the highest level. And I think that I'd love to still see that happen. We had our chance last year, and I don't think there's a team that wows them from the G6 or whatever. I mean, there's nobody that wows them, right? Memphis, okay, they have one loss, but there's nobody that wows them. And I think hopefully in the next couple of years, we get back to where there's a team that can be dominant and they can be talked about like we were last year. Hopefully that's us again. But it is sad. It's a business, and it's unfortunate because it's ruined a lot of things, and it's just all about the greed and money, and that sucks.
Very well said. Very well said, and spot on. And
yeah.
I am so opposed to a G5 tournament, and it's not like we're going to have a choice. I mean, they're going to just kick everybody out.
Or they won't do anything. They'll just keep the stupid new bowl system or traditional bowl system.
No. I mean, if the G5 gets kicked out of the CFP, then they're going to have to do their own thing. They have to. But then it becomes, and this is where the crappy part is, then it becomes the FCS playoffs. And then the FCS playoffs become the third tier of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Greg's never even watched, I guarantee you, Greg's never watched a second of the FCS playoffs.
I would disagree.
I lived in North Dakota State territory for a little bit of time.
Okay, but it's certainly, it becomes something. They play at like 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning as they try to warm up to the NFL. And their TV ratings are gross, and they play in Frisco, Texas, and it's just not good. John, the only person I know that cares about that is John, and you don't even care about the FCS playoffs this year because your Vandals suck.
But if you get to be the champion of that tournament,
I kind of I mean,
I don't know. It's the best of a bunch of bad options.
Can you play the G5 or G6 championship game on the Friday before championship Monday?
Well, now you're talking.
So now
details.
You got like weekends. I mean, you're setting up so they kind of work together on it a little bit, where it's not treated like the FCS tournament, which is the back page news that they still do a decent enough job of making it where people care. I don't know, but
a G5 tournament would be back page news under any circumstance.
It feels to me now, though, anyway, once the season ends, 12 weeks, college football, 12 games, if you're not doing something, you're out. You got to get in the portal. You got to recruit. You got a million things to do. And like football, messy football at that point, it almost just gets in the way. You got new coaches coming everywhere. It's just I hate college football's off season.
Yeah, I do too. And they've cleaned it up with the transfer portal this year.
That might help.
It's going to help a little
kids
bit.
Will still leave and they won't want to get hurt in a bowl game, so they won't go.
Guys,
Maybe,
there was a little bit of hope for me back when Cincinnati made it in the 14 playoff. And, I know that Central Florida, the year they went undefeated, it was stupid. They tried claiming a national championship, but they were at least in the conversation. I felt like for a little bit there, we were making some progress for the little guy in college football, but I feel like all of that has been sucked out of the balloon with the way the tournament gets selected now.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And the one area where I like you that brought up, Greg, in terms of, and you even mentioned it too, Johnny, in terms of if you win a G5 tournament, that's a trophy you're going to want to hang your hat on. I mean, Boise State, we all know, still talks about winning a national championship in 1980.
Yes.
And that was 45 years ago.
Big deal.
And that was tier number 2 at that time. And it is still a big deal. So if you win the thing, you can hang your hat on it. If you win the thing, you can use that to promote your program and make it better. I get it. So their opportunity is out there, but nobody cares. And I think the recruiting will take a massive
You think
hit.
so? I don't know, man.
I mean, kids
know.
of today want to play at the highest level. That's what Jackson Taylor just told us. He wants to play at the highest level. Now, he didn't get a chance to play at P4, but is he going to come here when he knows that it's literally the FCS, and the FCS becomes Division III, and then the trickle-down effect just makes everything else in college football just a little bit more relevant. And it sucks. It stinks. And I hate it. And there's pros and cons with both. And I was just really frustrated last night with that committee for not putting Memphis in at number 25.
Yeah, they could have put Memphis 8-1 at 25.
Now, when you lose to UAB,
it's their only loss. I get you.
A bad one.
Keep them out. But you're right. Boise State 8-1 probably is in that poll.
Especially last year with an 8-1 loss at Oregon, which is almost a good win.
Sweet deal on Friday. KTIK.com at 9 a.m. is Metzli Mexican Taqueria. Great stuff. Kids eat free on Mondays. That's 9 a.m. Friday. KTIK.com. Let's hop on them soapboxes, Mike Prater. KTIK the ticket.
This is Idaho Sports Talk with Prater and the Ballgame. Brought to you by Propane.